Welcome to Make an Assessment. COVID in the country. We are hanging out with myself, the director Hoot, Throwback Soul, the good librarian Hoot. Trying to remember all of your names, but I'm really just going for...
Allow me.
Yeah, go ahead.
The young Fundraiser.
Yeah.
Gus Freeman.
Yes.
The Dragon Satoru Yamashita.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah, and you can go back and listen to old episodes on that. And for a special guest, we have Country Hoot coming in. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your YouTube channel to get these things out of the way, and we're going to discuss COVID in the country and the continued series of our We Called It, and therefore we're just going to keep talking about it.
I have to say I'm excited for his stories because he's been telling them to me as he's been encountering them, and it is absurd comparatively speaking to where we are.
Oh, we've just talked a little bit before we got this thing rolling, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I mean, I'm very lucky to consider myself a mostly urban, suburban in the truest sense of the word guy, but you are truly out in the depths. So again, give us any names, any socials that you want people to hit up, and let's get this thing rolling.
That would be media's, not security numbers.
Yeah. No. I'm John the
Yeah,
Survivor.
too. It's okay. We're not going to take advantage of that.
Double finger again, Jay, real quick.
Yeah, right, finger. Yeah. No. But it's John the Survivor at YouTube, and I cover coronavirus, unemployment, how to get your stimulus money, what was going on in Georgia during the early times in coronavirus, COVID-19. And I'm moving more towards a prepper survivalist channel with the nomenclature John the Survivor, so it's going to be more gear, guns, technology, things you can stockpile to prepare for a social collapse based on COVID-19 or what may come after this, and the changes we'll be seeing for the next 2 to 5 years because of this pandemic.
Like prep for the 21st century.
Yeah, exactly. Clickbait for the 21st century.
I have to say, if the Make an Assessment podcast can do anything, we want to move you towards that silver play button, brother.
And we support American.
Gray America,
Guns.
blacks and whites.
American guns. Because we make things that go bang.
The usual bang, bang, bang. All right,
Where's
so
Robert Downey Jr. when you need him?
the fundraiser and I and the CC Hoot, chilling wherever he's illin', sort of rolled into this in an awkward position with making a few odd jokes and kind of being aware of the scenario, but since then it seems to have been a major facet of life, and we haven't really put out an episode since, so I think us being able to sort of like differentiate these things, and again, like, tell me about just the initial response when it started hitting you, and hitting where you were at.
With me, the initial time when I really saw it was when I was in Athens Medical. I was suffering from esophageal bleed, which means I'd thrown up so much I was throwing up blood. And they shipped me to Athens, and it was the first night I was there, and the patient to my right and to my left coded within 5 minutes of each other. And then you have like 6 and 8 doctors and nurses flooding each side, trying to resuscitate. They're both on respirators. It was both COVID-19 cases. And then once they couldn't resuscitate them, they sprayed everything in the room down with bleach. They sprayed the doorways with bleach. They literally put mats down and bleach for everybody to walk in and out of with the COVID-19. It was very extreme conditions and situations and precautions they were taking. So when I saw that, it just stuck in my head that, oh shit, this is real. This isn't for play. People are dying. And I was right next to the COVID people, so seeing what was going on, and then doctors were coming in to examine me, and I was making sure, hey, did you change your gloves when you just got in from that guy? No, change your gloves, sanitize your hands, I don't trust you. Because you're in a hospital. Even in a hospital, people can forget to make these little slides, and then you're infected. Luckily, I got out in like 3 days. I wasn't infected, but my parents couldn't visit me in the hospital because of COVID-19. I had to basically call my ride and wait outside down the street at a gas station instead of at the hospital for my ride to pick me up.
I didn't even know that. That's wowzers.
Like, literally had to walk down the street to the next station because they couldn't come to the hospital to pick me up because it was a security checkpoint.
Whoa.
So that, and Athens was locked down at this point, and this is March 12th. So
This is like, this is right as everything's really
Yeah.
starting to change.
And then as soon
everywhere.
as I'm calling my work, I'm like, do I need to get a doctor's note? He's like, no, you don't need to come to work. You need to call Georgia Board of Unemployment. With COVID hitting here, we've got our first cases confirmed in Milledgeville. We can't have you at the store right now.
At this point, let me ask you guys. Hearing him say that happened around March 12th was like really when it all started getting crazy. Hasn't it felt like so much longer?
Well, I mean, when you're in the middle of a time dilation like we are right now, this is the first time in a long time where people are unified around the world in a singular, unique thought. So the time dilation is much more obvious. Where prior to this point, I think a lot of people, because we were, very social media, locked in our own voids and our own as my mother always told me, you don't live in a void, but a lot of people would like to prove you otherwise.
Can I say I agree with you, except I would change unified to polarized. Everybody has an opinion. I don't know if...
Well, no, unified in the sense that everybody's talking about COVID-19. It's not even like, it's not the opinions about it,
Okay,
it's
got it.
merely
Yeah,
the
definitely.
idea that
Definitely.
the singular idea is central, not necessarily...
No
the
one can
things
ignore
circle.
it.
No,
Yeah,
we're
for
all,
sure.
We're all on the same topic. This is what everybody across the country is talking about every day.
No,
Yeah, I definitely was
But-
using the word more literally, but I understand where you're coming from.
But think about it like this, and it's some of my research for my channel for a video I'm going to do coming soon, is this is a 100-year cycle of pandemics. The last one before this was 1918, and this is 20...
Spanish flu?
Yeah, the Spanish flu is the last big
The most
pandemic.
racist fucking flu ever.
But, well,
I got it wrong. I said
technically,
black plague.
the only reason it was called the Spanish flu was because they said that,
Black.
well, they said because Spaniards brought it over during the war.
Yeah.
When Spain was the only reason that they got called to that is because they're the first to report it because they weren't active at the engagement.
And there's also a time alignment because it's also near, was it Remember the Maine? Like the whole thing that kicked off things in Cuba. There was already like an anti-Spaniard sentiment with regards to an attempt to play land annex in terms of like American policy and history, in terms of where we were 100 years ago. And it's true, we were due for something equivalent of a new flu because it's, nobody ever said that the Spanish flu went away. It just became the modern day equivalent of what we have now.
Well, it's that 100-year cycle. Every 100 years, something cooks up in this planet and becomes weaponized to the point where it'll kill a certain amount of population. Spanish flu kills something like 3 to 5% of the world's total population when it hit. And they're talking this could decimate the world. In other words, do 10% of total population of the world in deaths from COVID. And 100 years before that, it was 7%, and then 100 years before that, it was about 9% of the population. And you go back to the Black Death, which is about 33% of the total world population killed from that disease. Before the world gained herd immunity or overcame it to the point to where people weren't dying every day.
Well, again, it's also a singular thought in the fact that there was as piss poor as it was, there was at least enough people out in the world boiling shit. Again, basic prep survivor thought process for what is it that makes people immune to a thing. And, several hundred years ago when we're dealing with things like that, I think the idea is that because we're not as clean as we are now, I think we've oversaturated ourselves personally. I feel very like I will wash my hands to the extent that I do not want them to smell weird, or like I don't want to touch things that are nasty and then touch you. But people who like sanitize to an extent that it's not required. Again, I think it's very much a case by case basis, but I've always felt that just because of my own personal immunity to the world and the fact that I don't generally get as sick.
You're a healthy boy.
I am a big boy.
But here's
I
the
am a big
thing.
boy.
There is such a thing as scrubbing all the good bacteria off your body. You
Exactly.
can literally rob your body of what it needs to fight off the bad stuff.
Yeah,
you'll
there's
get in.
good bacteria as well.
You don't get rid of your eye mites. You don't get rid of your eyelashes to spite your eye mites because you think that they're weird. They're keeping your eyelashes clean.
They're keeping you clean, they're keeping you moving, they're keeping you healthy, but there's a certain level of oil you need to have in your body and your skin.
Look, I
You
have
don't
to
wash your hair, and you don't have hair, so you would know. You don't wash your hair every day.
Hey, I have hair.
Okay, but you watch that like what, once or twice a week? I mean, no, I'm just kidding. But there's
Depends
certain,
on how often he's eating pussy.
there's certain levels of cleanliness I wash my hair every other day, I take a shower every day, but I'm not taking like 5 showers a day like some people I know. They're like, I kind of bathe every time
I
I
have
sweat.
2 things to input on this. I used to live under a bridge. I shower twice a day when I wake up before I go to bed. But on the topic of the
Saturation.
the oversaturation of Jesus Christ.
getting clean.
No, the over sanitizing. I totally agree with you. Some people while out on that shit, but there's a part of me now. It's like I can't blame them though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's an issue of necessarily the blame, but it's there's a lack of education mixed with good temperance.
Vast.
You know, like I think we can always talk about this as a valid topic for anything, and especially when you look at times of high levels of just, you know, plague cycles. I think there's probably a correlation in terms of just generic stupidity in the world. There's a lot of it as usual.
If I've learned anything from video games, every 50,000 years there's an extinction cycle. The Reapers are coming.